It's round 3 of the Aprilia Super Team Challenge from Mallory Park in Leicestershire. We started off the season at Brands Hatch before going to Donington, and here we are at Mallory. Unfortunately, conditions not the best, so wet tyres will be on these identically matched Aprilia RS 125s, sponsored by Dunlop in competition, Lexham Insurance and Black Horse. Let's have a look on the grid. Number 8, pole position, Lewis Rollo. Been unstoppable so far this year, championship leader. Second on the grid there, number 111 is Sam Smith from Staining. Third on the grid, and very excited with his orange vest on, is number 67, Gideon Thomas from Wallington. And Milo Ward, you could almost say one of the most experienced riders out there, number 41 from Wellingborough, riding for Motrack Racing, looking to get himself on the podium. Lights on, lights off. Here at Mallory Park, the Aprilia Super Teams get underway. Of course, this championship for riders aged 12 to 18 years old, famous for creating stars such as Casey Stoner and much, much more. Cal Crutchlow, Leon Camier, well, the list goes on. And as they make their way into a long, sweeping right-hander, that is Gerard's. Everyone safely makes their way around turn 1. Is there any stopping Lewis Rollo, the young Scotsman that has been blasting this championship so far in 2012? No one has got close as they make their way down Stebby Straight and through the gears into Ed Wieners. We just saw number 97 there, Bradley Peary, running a little bit wide, but managing to get on with it. There's a rider already on the grass a bit further back. That's number 28. Keenan Armstrong, Keenan from Doncaster. Back at the front, number 8, Lewis Rollo from Sam Smith. Number 5 is Stapleton's George Stanley, sponsored by Gem Drive Logistics, a rider that was in last year's Super Team Championship, and towards the end of 2011 certainly was knocking on the door of a top 5. Just going underneath number 5, George Stanley, is number 67, Gideon Thomas. As I mentioned before, that orange vest moving up into the top 5, and Bradley Peary has made some decent progress also just a little bit further back. Back at the front, there is Lewis Rollo, rider from Haddington in Scotland. Very few times in the last 5 or 6 years have we seen a rider that has had such a lead so early on in a championship. He pulls out of Ed Wieners, gets some good drive ahead of 111 Sam Smith. And it's such a great championship to start racing in, with all of those names I mentioned, such as Stoner and Crutchlow, and more recently, names like Fraser Rogers and Wayne Ryan. They're racing in Spain this year, the Spanish CEV Championships, with a view to trying to land a few wildcard rounds in the MotoGP Moto3 Championships. Number 8, Lewis Rollo leads. Those riders there with the orange vests on, the red backing gold, they're Nitro newcomers. They're also rookies. Those orange vests have been donated by the Ben Gautry Foundation, so nice to see riders with those orange vests keeping it lit for Ben. Back at the front, Lewis Rollo, number 8, still has that lead, but he's under pressure from Sam Smith. Few times this season that we've seen anyone being able to really attempt to beat Lewis Rollo. Of course, Bradley Peary, the only rider that's managed to do it so far this season. I think you have to look back to the start of the championship a couple of years ago when Andy Reid looked like he was running away with it. It just so happened that on that occasion, Lewis Rollo won't want to follow suit, because Andy somehow managed to lose the championship about halfway through. Had a couple of falls, and it was Wayne Ryan, as I mentioned earlier, that won that championship in the end in a dramatic, thrilling last day against Lee Jackson. Bradley Peary has just moved up ahead of Gideon Thomas now, up into the top 3. So the rider that is second overall in the championship from Kendal, sponsored by B. Greg Vehicle Dismantlers, is doing a fine job of getting himself on the top 3. There he is in third, number 97 behind 111 Sam Smith, who's just dropped away slightly from race leader Lewis Rollo. There's Milo Ward, number 41, up the inside of George Stanley, the two riders that were actually having quite a few battles last season in the Aprilia Super Teams, and Milo Ward there riding for Motrack Racing. His teammate won it, of course, last year, Joe Francis, who's in the British 125 Championship this season. There's number 7, William Keynes, just ahead of 303 Aidan Walker, some of our rookies for 2012. But talking of rookies, there's not many races that Lewis Rollo was contested in. You may remember the last round of Last season's Aprilia Super Team Championship at this very circuit went down to the final race between Joe Francis and Tom Oliver, who is now in the Aprilia 450 Championship. That, of course, race you'll be able to see next week. GP Racing Dream, the next step. Well, Lewis Rollo was involved in that last year, and it was the first time we saw him, and we thought, my word, he's going to be quick next year, and he certainly is. An enormous lead in the championship so far, and a big lead in this race in the wet at Mallory Park. Come rain or shine, he's up the top there. Panning back, there is number 5, George Stanley, and number 48, Hamish Adamski, who's in fact, his lap time suggests that he might be able to pass George Stanley and just move up into the top 4. So Hamish Adamski running very well in these horrible conditions. There is number 35, Sam Wilford. Just ahead of number 4, Louis Vallely, and 96, that's Connor Wheeler. We're battling away for some decent points. We have someone that's pulled over to the side there. That's Ross Simpson, a mechanical retirement. It's a shame to see, but that is the race leader number 8. Just coming round to lap, and lapping up to 14th already is Lewis Rollo. Bradley Peary has made his way up into 2nd now, ahead of Sam Smith. So Peary and his lap times are only a couple of tenths off Lewis Rollo's fastest on that time around. Bradley was 3 tenths quicker than the Scotsman that leads this. Both of the riders 12 years old. And there is number 8, just coming up to lap Louis Vallely. Number 23 in between, it's Nathan Harrison, before Peary comes through, just ahead of Sam Smith, who was 2nd on the grid. Bradley Peary had qualified in 5th, just off the front row. But there's certainly no stopping Lewis Rollo so far this season. He entered this weekend with a 66-point advantage, and he's already extended that from the races on Saturday. Number 97, Bradley Peary. He's catching Lewis Rollo, you know. It doesn't look like there's going to be much time for him to make any real difference in the race, as the last lap flag is out now. But on that last lap again, he took another half a tenth off Lewis Rollo. Rollo has the fastest lap, some 8 tenths quicker than Bradley Peary, but Peary is on the move, and if he'd have got down to business a little earlier on in this race, maybe, just maybe, we'd have seen a different result at the front. But with just under half a lap remaining, it's looking like it's going to be another first-class win here for Lewis Rollo, number 8. So smooth. Tiny, pint-sized rider, but one to look out for in the future. Out of Ed Wieners, staying off the white lines, doing everything just right. Soft on the brakes, careful on the power, and this has been a great ride from Lewis Rollo as he makes his way into Shaw's Hairpin for the final time, and then up through the left, right, left at the bus stop. Back onto the start-finish straight comes Lewis Rollo, and it's been a great win here in the Aprilia Super Teams. Rollo is going to take another win. Across the line he goes, the Scotsman, there's no stopping him at the moment. 2nd place is going to be Bradley Peary. That's a good result from 5th on the grid. And in 3rd, Sam Smith, who is 3rd in the championship. A good lot of points for him. Milo Ward took 4th place ahead of Gideon Thomas, who's another newcomer, ahead of George Stanley. Cameron Lee, Keenan Armstrong was 8th, Ryan McAdam 9th, and Joe Thompson 10th. In the middle there, that's Bradley Peary, who won the Nitro Newcomers ahead of Gideon Thomas and Keenan Armstrong. And the overall podium there, Lewis Rollo ahead of Bradley Peary on the left and Sam Smith on the right.
Sam Smith there, 3rd place overall in the Super Teams. Filthy conditions out there, was that hard?
Yeah, it's really slippery. It was a really good race. Bradley was on it, he was doing really, really well. Lewis was just gone by like the 5th lap. No one could catch him. It's a really, really good race. Enjoyed it so much.
Oh, I'm glad you like the wet anyway. Who do you want to thank?
I'd like to thank RST Leathers, KBC Helmets, Motor Loyal for all their help. Golden Farm Vehicle Repairs for helping me get to the race meetings.
Bradley Peary, winner of the Nitro Newcomers race, but 2nd overall. You must be reasonably happy with that. I mean, I know you'd like to be up there with Lewis, but filthy conditions for you.
Oh, it was a bit slippery, but Yeah, I'd like to be with Lewis, but he was gone. He's so quick. But I had a good battle with Sam Smith, and they just got him. And I tried to catch Lewis, but he's gone.
Well, I mean, you show him that he could be beaten at Donington, and I'm sure that you're going to try and show him again.
Yeah, I hope so. Just try my best for the race too.
Who'd you like to thank, Brad?
I'd like to thank my uncle Marcus, Bob Jackson for building the engine, Brian Gregg, Armwood Signs, Torridge Roofing, just all my sponsors. Thanks.
Lewis, winner again of the Aprilia Super Teens overall here at Mallory Park. You seem to go off and show everyone a clean pair of heels.
Yeah, well, it was really good just when I got away there. I just wanted to try and get a bit of lead on everyone, what I managed to do, so it was good.
You're quite happy with wet conditions?
Yeah.
Well, they do seem to stick very, very well, and this track's quite grippy. Who do you want to thank, Lewis?
I'd like to thank Mum and Dad, family, friends, sponsors, Tosh, Steve Jones and Mike for building my engines.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be straight back with race 2 from the Aprilia Super Teens. Welcome back to Mallory Park and GP Racing Dream. It's the Aprilia Super Teens race 2 here at Mallory Park. Number 8, Lewis Rollo. What a win in that first race. He looks so calm and confident. Will he do it again? Can anyone stop him? Will this young man stop him? Number 111, 13-year-old Sam Smith. Sustaining 67. Good race from Gideon Thomas last time around. The orange bib on. Kantang, number 41, Milo Ward, fourth on the grid, and Brad Peary, number 97, the 12-year-old we just heard from before the break, fifth on the grid, just to the right. Green flag at the back. The sun is out. There are a few dry patches, but it's definitely wet conditions here at Mallory Park for race 2. It's another fine start from Lewis Rollo, number 8, but Sam Smith is right alongside him, number 111. But Lewis Rollo it is that gets the whole shot into turn 1 and into Gerard. Sam Smith in second, and you can see there that the spray being kicked up. You wouldn't want to be on anything other than wet tyres, and these wet tyres, these Dunlops, so sticky. If you've never had a go on full Dunlop wets, then I really urge you to try it, because it's unbelievable the amount of grip you can get. Lewis Rollo it is that leads, number 8 from 111 Sam Smith, number 5 George Stanley, Gideon Thomas, number 67. Looked as though it was a good start from Nathan Harrison also, and Alex Platt, number 43, got away very well indeed. Through the bus stop chicane, Lewis Rollo looking to probably match that result from race 1 in the Aprilia Super Teens. Last year's winner Joe Francis has moved on to British Championship, but other than that, the top 10, most of them are migrated over to the Aprilia 450s. The natural next step, you'll be able to see that on Motors TV next week. Lewis Rollo, it is that leads from Sam Smith as the rest of the field try and sort themselves out from third down. George Stanley currently taking up third place. If you want to watch these races again, by the way, ApriliaChallenge.net is the website that you need to go and visit. And just click on the iPlayer icon. Number 8, Lewis Rollo. What a start to the season for the young rider from Haddington. You could hear in the interview, so confident of his own ability. Milo Ward just going a bit wide there, further back. And struggling as Ross Simpson goes by him. So Milo not having it all his own way. There's a dry line as they make their way through the S's there, but still wet. And these Dunlops, they're very sticky, and they won't tear up too much in these conditions, provided the riders are forcing their way through those wet puddles around this Mallory Park circuit. 1.3 miles, the home of Thundersport GB. Next up, Alton Park in Cheshire. That was the first time we saw Lewis Rollo in a rookie event last season. Number 96, that's Connor Wheeler, trying to get himself up into the points. On the exit, though, of Gerrard's and onto the start, the back straight, the steppy straight, that seems to be where most of the standing water is. Sam Smith, you know, is keeping hold of Lewis Rollo, determined not to let him go this time around. Bradley Peary is, again, didn't get off to the greatest of starts from 5th. And there's an amazing tussle further back. Number 11 there, Joe Sheldon Shaw, the son of Gwen Shaw, a former GP1 competitor. And I'll tell you what, we've just had a look on the timing screens, and I've got bad news for any of you that are following 111 Sam Smith. Just as we were hoping that there was a fighter for the win against Lewis Rollo here, number 8. 111 Sam Smith in second. According to the time screens, has been handed a 10-second penalty for a jump start. Such a shame. It'd be interesting to know if he's aware of that. But Sam Smith has got it all to do if he wants to win this one. He's not only going to have to pass Lewis Rollo, but he'd have to get himself over a 10-second lead. As it is, Rollo leads from Smith in second, but once that 10-second penalty comes into play, Smith will probably fall out of the top 3 or 4 as it stands. And like I say, it is of course something that is down to the team really, as to whether they know or whether they give Sam Smith that information during the race. As we see again there, number 11, Joe Shelton-Shaw in the top 15. He's going to get himself a few points. He's in and amongst the likes of Sam Wilford, Nathan Harrison, Keenan Armstrong and Zach Cordery. Louis Vallely is just outside the points. Then Connor Wheeler, Ollie Brocklesby, Reese Wilkes, the brother of Kyle Wilkes and William Keynes. Here is the leading two, though, as they come across the line. Lewis Rollo, though, coming under threat and out of the slipstream, pings 111 Sam Smith. And maybe he's had the signal, maybe he's had the message that he's got a 10-second penalty and has thought, well, I'm going to pull the pin now. This is not what we're used to seeing as Lewis Rollo fights back around the outside of Gerrard. That's big and brave from the young Scotsman, and he retakes the lead as they go into Ed Wieners. Great riding there from Smith to take the initiative and lead the race, but fighting back was Lewis Rollo. Further back in third, that's George Stanley, just ahead of Gideon Thomas. And then it's Bradley Peary in fifth. Back at the front though, number 8 and number 111. Lewis Rollo, 12-year-old, ahead against 13-year-old Sam Smith 111. And let me tell you, the lap record is held by Callum Cooper, right from the Isle of Man, currently in the 450s, a 1 minute .913. These riders in these conditions on wet tyres are 3 seconds slower, that's all. As again, out of the slipstream comes 111, Sam Smith. Lewis Rollo will once more try, undoubtedly, to go around the outside and use that drive, but it's not going to happen quite as well this time. He's going to have to try and tuck in the slipstream on the exit of Gerrard's. And again, they're side by side down the Sebi Straight. And again, number 8. Lewis Rollo takes advantage and regains his lead into Ed Wieners, but for once, Lewis Rollo has got his work cut out. Sam Smith is putting on a good show here, number 111, and such a shame that he's got a 10-second penalty, but they are the rules. Number 95 there is Ross Simpson, and Bradley Peary just going straight up the inside of him. Milo Ward a bit further back, number 41, and 67 is Gideon Thomas. This is a fantastic scrap for third and fourth place. George Stanley, meanwhile, is going to get swallowed up there. 111. Well, look at that. Somewhere else, Sam Smith has managed to take the lead again from Lewis Rollo, and Lewis Rollo has fallen back by a second or two. The last lap flag is now out. And well, he's got 10 seconds to make up. Let's face it. Third place, that is the battle for number 97. Bradley Peary's got it at the moment, looking for as many points as possible. He's second, of course, in the championship, but into Ed Wieners, this isn't a bad lead at all that Sam Smith has got here. I'm pretty sure that even with the 10-second penalty in place, he might just be able to hang on to second overall. It very much depends on where Bradley Peary finishes. He's just ahead of Milo Ward on circuit as they go through the S's. But a great ride here from Sam Smith, and he's got a good 5 or 6 second lead. A good win on circuit for Sam Smith, but such a shame as he goes across the line. A 10-second penalty. That means that number 8, Lewis Rollo, is going to win it. And I think that poor Sam Smith thinks he's won it. He does? Oh no, such a shame. Lewis Rollo it is that takes the win because of that 10-second penalty ahead of Sam Smith, who does get second. Bradley Peary, third ahead of Milo Ward, Ross Simpson, Gideon Thomas, sixth. Stanley, Lee, McAdam and Thompson make up the top 10. There is Lewis Rollo in the middle, an upset Sam Smith on the left, and Bradley Peary on the right. Such a shame. Their championship though, Lewis Rollo, 94-point lead over Peary, Smith, Stanley, Ward, Simpson, Thomas, Lee, Harrison and Hamish Adamski. In the newcomers, Bradley Peary's the winner ahead of Ross Simpson and Gideon Thomas. And in the newcomers standings, a huge hugely for Peary ahead of Simpson, Thomas, Armstrong, Cordery, Wheeler, Brocklesby, Vallely, Keynes and Wilkes.
Brilliant Super Teens Nitro newcomer, third place, Gideon Thomas. Did you enjoy that race? The sun came out.
Yeah, I loved it. It was really fun.
Excellent. Who do you want to thank?
I want to thank my mum, my dad, Mark, the Saint Hill, Daytona Boots, AMI Direct, and Motorac for all the help this weekend.
Well done. Great job. Moving on to Ross Simpson. Did you enjoy that race?
Yeah, it was really good. It was brilliant. I loved it.
And you like the wet and you like Mallory Park?
Yeah, it's a good track.
Fantastic. Who'd you like to thank?
My mum and dad, my friend Claire, my friend Ollie and his mum Claire, and Andrew Dunn's Motorcycles, ST Tuning, Acquaid, and that's it really.
All right, well done, Ross. Bradley Peary, winner of the Nitro Newcomers and third place overall. You've had a good weekend, really, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm happy with how the weekend went. Had a little bit of trouble now and again, but yeah, we got over it and had a good time.
Yeah, do you like Mallory Park?
Yeah, it's a good track. Not my favourite, but it's a good track.
There's not a lot of rest here, is there?
No, it's all good. It's all nothing.
Who'd you like to thank, Bradley?
I'd like to thank Gears, Plungas, Wayne, Torridge Roofing, Brian Gregg, Plungas, everybody. Bob Jackson for making a brilliant engine. Just everybody.
Moving on to Sam Smith. What happened?
At the beginning, I accidentally jump-started, which was my own fault. And but it was a great race. I loved every minute of it. So, it's my own fault. I'll learn from it.
Yeah, and as I said, they're like London buses, and once you get one win, they'll all come at once. Who'd you like to thank, Sam?
Well, I accidentally forgot a few people last time, so my own fault. But I'd like to thank RST Levers, Motor Oil, KBC Helmets, John, G-Tech Performance, and Gone Barn Vehicle Repairs for all the help.
Very well done. Thank you very much. Lewis Rollo. So, did you know what had gone on there, or did your pit board tell you?
Well, I was just watching and I was just looking at what lead I had, and then all of a sudden Sam just flew past me, absolutely flying. But then I looked at it and I just saw that I was still in first place. So towards the end, just started backing it off, not wanting to crash. But Sam should have won that by miles. He was really flying.
Well, that's very nice of you to say that. And who would you like to thank?
I'd like to thank Jim, Andy, Duncan and Graham for fixing my fairings and helping fix my bikes.
Remarkable attitude from 12 and 13-year-olds. That's it from Mallory Park. We're at Alton next for the Super Teens. I've been Steve Day. We'll see you then.